Hello and welcome to Postcards from a Soul and Her Human. I'm the human Sophia. Thank you for joining me today. I appreciate you as always. As with all of the episodes that I record, I always intend to work when I'm inspired. This is something I've really embraced as a lifestyle change with many, many others in this new, more refined energy that I exist within. And I'm always amazed how much inspiration comes. It's truly remarkable. I'm also very much aware that I am sharing this space with other beings, other intelligence, and this has been made very clear to me, especially lately, that that I'm offering a voice to not just me and my story, but to my ancestors in the angelic realm and the ascended masters and other beings who want to speak, who are not here incarnate and who have, guidance and messages. And I'm always so fascinated by this. I used to sit and listen to my episodes afterwards. I don't do that anymore. I haven't done that in a very long time because I don't want to judge what I say. This is something that uh, it took a little getting used to because I don't see myself as anything other than an ordinary woman. I don't see myself any and I'm not really. I think this is the extraordinary part that as humans we don't realize how divine we really are. And I'm always surprised by it. I'm always so surprised by it. All the like I talked about in the last episode, the magical qualities of my life in this more refined energy and the expectation of absolutely anything happening. There's just so my point is that uh, I do have an idea of what I want to talk about today, and I guess we'll see if we get there or not. But I'm very grateful for this medium, and I want to thank anyone who is with me who has been following this extraordinary journey and all that it is. It's culminating to, and there's so much happening right now in the spiritual realm, in the physical realm. It's almost uh, I don't want to use the word overwhelming, but we are in a very intense and extraordinary time here on Earth. I mentioned before that we are in a uh, historic time, and we are at the beginning of we are at the beginning of an historic event in regards to the history of planet Earth, and we are we are at the precipice of a new world. And this has been something that has been such an interesting evolution of understanding for me because when I first started to learn about this a few years ago, really kind of why I was plugged back in at the time that I was, or awakened when I was no mistake. This is the beginning of the end of times. And I don't mean that in a dramatic way at all. I keep the song that's stuck in my head today is It's the End of the World as We Know It. And I feel fine. And that part's important because I feel fine. And uh, there's so much that is changing right now on an energetic and spiritual level that if you are tuned into it or you're empathic, sensitive to energy, you're aware of it. Whether you're aware that you're aware of it or not, your senses are aware of it. And I just went through a roller coaster ride of a week experiencing these changes firsthand. And the first thing that happened was I was guided to do a 3-day fast. I have been guided to. I talked about this in the last episode as well. I've been guided to change my diet. I changed the frequency of when I eat. Completely changed the quality or the types of food that I eat. I shouldn't say that. That's not a lie. That's a lie. Not completely. I was always a pretty clean eater, but you don't realize some of the things that you eat and the impact on your body. as I rise in my frequency, I am guided more closely and more um, insistently. I hate to use the word insistence because I have free will, but my guides have been very clear about what I cannot eat. And I talked about this a couple of times. The biggest offenders being gluten, refined sugars, and processed meats, industrialized dairy, all of those things. So I've been guided to do intermittent fasting, and I've been doing that over the last several weeks, maybe month and a half at this point, where I go up to 16 hours a day without eating, and then during the 8-hour period where I can eat, I consume mostly live foods, vegetables, fruits, and some grains, very few at this point. And it's not hard to do, by the way, but whenever I talk about my diet or even my life, I just want to make it clear that this is my journey. It's not for everybody. I am being guided to be uh, in a unique biological. Uh, I have to use the word frequency. Uh, I'm in a very unique place in my life, my journey, my mission. This is not meant for anyone else. You have to use your own discernment, your own guidance, your own intuition to decide what's best for you across the board. So I don't want to be advertising a way of eating or living that is a one size fits all. It's absolutely not. If anything, mine is much more focused and severe and aggressive than people need to even think about. And the only reason is that I am uh, working with the divine as a conduit. And as a conduit, I have to resonate. I have to be able to connect and stay coherent with the earth and the universal energies. So I talked about this before. My body is a resonance chamber. And even though I tried to sway off of this recently, I was very quickly put back on course. And I'll talk about that really quickly. But I've been doing intermittent fasting for the last month or month and a half or something like that, which has worked out really nicely. It wasn't difficult to give up the foods. I was already 90% there with the way I was eating anyway. And I kept receiving messages in my YouTube channel, which is where I get all of my verbal communication from my spirit guides and from other members of my team, uh, is about fasting more seriously or in a for longer periods of time. And I had been receiving these messages for probably 2 weeks, maybe a little bit more before it hit me that, okay, I'm being asked to do a longer fast. So I'd never done anything more than 40 hours. And what I learned through all of this information was that when you go more than 48 hours, which is 2 days, something clicks in your system. The way it was described is that your body can finally stop digesting all the food we put into it, and it starts to eat away at the energetic emotions or stored trauma or embedded issues or experiences, memories, beliefs, traumas, fears, all of it that is embedded so deep in the body that it cannot be purged through normal intention, normal meditation, normal standard measures and methods that we use to go within and to purge out negative energy. This is a whole other level. And I described something very similar when I went to a breath workshop with my friend Igor Siberia, who I now have a podcast with. He's on the road right now in the United States, uh, doing his workshops across the country. And he was just recently here where I live, and I actually got to meet him in person or see him again, which was really nice. But I had a very dramatic experience with that intensified breath work that released a lot of root chakra issues that I was carrying, negative energy that was keeping me from continuing to evolve into the expansive energy that I'm still evolving in, and we all are every day. So this 3-day fast is important because between the hours of 48 and 72, 2 and 3 days, is when this trigger flips and when your body can start working on deeply embedded negative low density energy in the body that needs to be expelled. I knew this intelligently because I remember hearing it, but of course, until I experienced it, I didn't connect the dots because I just expected I wouldn't eat food for 3 days. I didn't feel like it was a big deal at all. No big deal. I'm a light eater. I've always been a light eater, and I just wasn't concerned. I did a little research. I understood what I needed to do, which again, don't emulate or imitate. Do what's right for you, please. This was brand new for me, brand new territory. I'd never done more than 40 hours, and I only did that once, which was kind of recently because I thought earlier that maybe I was being guided, but I went 40. I wasn't sure how long to go. This time it was very expressed, 3 days. Okay, got you. So I started this last Saturday. Today is Sunday, November 2nd. So this was last Saturday. I don't know, whatever the date was. I decided that after my last meal, I would start the fast. It was like 7 p.m. I said, okay, I'm starting right now, 7 p.m. So the first full day of the fast, which was the next day, Sunday, was pretty much uneventful. I went into the evening. I felt fine. I went to bed that evening. Woke up the next day, felt absolutely fine. Day two, I started to notice I felt a little bit of fatigue. I didn't feel really very energetic, which I thought this was normal. I'm not giving myself any food. I was drinking water only, clean water with a little bit of lemon, nothing else at that point. Went into through the day. I kind of relaxed most of the day, just aware that I might need to. Went into the evening on day two, and hour 24 was, I'm sorry, hour 48 was at 7 p.m. So around 10 p.m., I started to feel really almost ill. It was, uh, it came on very quickly. If I had to describe it, I would say when you're in the middle of the flu, minus the sneezing, coughing, and fever, when you're in that really dense energy where you feel just completely wiped out and exhausted and you literally can't move, that's how it felt. But it came on so fast. It was so surprising. So I said, okay, I wrapped up what I was doing and I went up to bed. So this was hour 51, I think is what it was. So 48 hours is between 48 and 72 is that sweet spot where the body starts eating itself basically, and not the food anymore that's in your body, which is the reason why the fast is recommended and why I probably will do it more often. So I wasn't feeling well, went to bed. I woke up the next morning, and this happened to me once before, but it was so traumatic. I was so terrified the first time it happened. This time I knew not to be afraid. I woke up to what I thought was initially my heart beating out of my chest. I'm talking ba-boom, 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 ba-boom. It was just, it was a high rate. It was very powerful. But I soon realized, and again, I have to always compose myself and not be fearful because these ascension symptoms can come on so fast and fierce that they can be mistaken for another physical issue. So I have to compose myself and really feel what I'm feeling. And what I realized almost immediately when I put my hand on my solar plexus, and the solar plexus is right below the breastbone, right between the split in your ribs. If you put your hand right underneath your breastbone, that's your solar plexus. That's what was thumping like a drum, just boom, 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 boom. It felt like an out of control heartbeat in my upper stomach. And I knew not to worry because I'd been through this type of ascension symptom before. And how it's described to me by my guides was that you're going to get an energetic upgrade or a chakra upgrade to your solar plexus. To your solar plexus. And this is where my feeling of confidence comes from and my security in myself and who I am. And this is necessary to be upgraded for me because I'm going to be speaking to a larger audience one day. And my guides, my ancestors, and the angels want to make sure that I'm fully fortified and that I don't carry any fear or insecurities about doing the work that I'm doing right now. But almost no one's watching right now, which is a good training period for me to get used to and comfortable with speaking, which I have over the last 3 years. So a lot of effort and time has been put into this conditioning or reconditioning for me. So this was very similar. It was the pounding of my solar plexus. I said, okay, obviously there's something here that needs to be taken care of. So I got up and I was very lethargic. I couldn't move around too much on day three. And by the time the evening came, and I'm completely alone, I'm not seeing anyone. It always works out that either I do these things, types of events on the weekends where I know I'm not going to see my girls, or even if it happens in the middle of the week, it's rearranged. The schedules are rearranged. If my daughter were to need me, things get moved around. I'm given a time of isolation to go through whatever I need to go through. So it is now Tuesday. It's the third day of the fast, and I'm sitting on my couch, and I started the pressure built up so quickly in a moment in my solar plexus. The pounding just became out of control, and I started to moan. I felt like I had to moan to like release some energy. I wasn't sure what was going to happen, so I just started moaning. I even said out loud, "I'm not sure exactly what's happening, but I'm just going to go with it." So you have to become really compliant and obedient during these times, because if you allow fear to overtake you, you're going to disrupt or even destroy what's happening. And that's how powerful fear is, because it causes action so quickly. So I have to really ground myself and say, no, you know what's happening. This is spiritual. It is not anything else. So within another minute or so, I started to cry, and I said, okay, whatever is in my body that needs to come up, I release you. I want to bring you up into my awareness, and I want to give you the acknowledgement to help you uh, move away or move out of my body. And I was very aware of what was happening, although I didn't really know the root of anything. But within another minute or so, I started to moan and cry about my inner child, and about how she no longer needs the protective energies in my body, that she is now safe, that she is now free of any abuse or neglect or betrayal, and she can relax. And I thought about all the things that I went through as a child, and I this is how deep energy, this dense energy can embed in the body. I've been purging this shit for over 4 years. I am very aware of the impact that my childhood had on the rest of my life and the purpose of everything, and that's well and good. It's beautiful, but the energetic reality is that memory of that trauma stays deep, deep, deep in the body, and it can only be purged through, obviously, a special circumstance with me, because I am required to be completely clear and free, just like with my diet, of anything that can be a barrier to me evolving into this divine instrument for the ascension of this planet and my ancestors and all life everywhere. It's not just me. I don't mean to say it's just me. That's just what I'm doing here. This is what light workers do. This is what grid workers do. This is what all of the star seeds are here doing. So I knew what was happening. I didn't understand really the depth of it. I started to, and just to be fully transparent, I was, I was sexually abused as a child. I was mentally, emotionally, and physically abused also by my mother, who was a violent alcoholic. She was a very disturbed person, who I was estranged from since she moved away. I think I was 11 years old when my mother moved away with a boyfriend. She moved from a Midwestern state where we were living with her, and just left us with our father, who was the loving, present parent at the time. And she just moved across the country with a boyfriend, and I didn't see her again until I was in my 20s. And I was grateful, though. You have to understand, depending on where you come from, what your perspective is as a child. Your experience is not necessarily that of a child who feels loss when a violent parent moves away. I was grateful that she was gone. I was no longer devastated or tortured by her. She was a very violent person, and as an empathetic, compassionate child, it was very traumatic. So I acknowledged all of that during this little event that I was having, that she was mentally, physically, and sexually abused, and she was abandoned, and she was grew into a person who had to protect herself her whole life, and who ended up being betrayed. And this is the life of a star seed. This is what we sign up for. We have to have difficulties in order to rise above them, overcome them, and become a resource for others. That's how this works. So, but even though I understand all this mentally and even emotionally, this imprint or this embedded energy is still in my body. So I spent a good 15, 20 minutes purging this deep, deep, negative, dark, dense energy out of my body through massive amounts of tears, moaning, and crying. And I was so grateful because I knew this was the purpose of the 3-day fast, was to get this out of my body. And the way I acknowledged it was I said, thank you so much for protecting me when I couldn't protect myself, but you're no longer needed. I am a sovereign being. I have my inner child in my arms. She's taking this journey with me. She's on my shoulder. She's actually pointing. I want to go there. I want to go there. I want to go there. She is completely a part of what I'm doing. I'm doing this for her. She's safe now. You can go. And I cried for a little while longer, and I felt it leave, and I knew that it was done. And I was so exhausted. I crawled back into bed very early. I slept 12 hours. The next day, I slept another 6 hours. I was absolutely wiped out. It took everything out of me. And then my beautiful daughter, of course, brought me over soup. I was intended to go to the store and do all this myself, because when you're done with the 3-day fast, you have to start very slowly back with allowing nourishment in your body. I chose a very bland vegetable soup, and that was my first 3 meals. And I slowly went back into my regular diet and my intermittent fasting, which really was just yesterday because it took so long for this whole event to really take hold. So that was one of the most dramatic purges I've had throughout my entire experience, purging dark negative energy, imprints, traumas, beliefs out of my body. And it was extraordinary. But what happened right afterwards was amazing. And I know the timing is never, ever accidental. There is something going on in our universe that you may or may not be aware of. It is a comet called 3I Atlas. And I wasn't exactly sure if this was real, because when I see it in social media and even on my YouTube channel, and I made this little faux pas before with Yellowstone Park. I saw something that resonated. It struck something in me that I needed to realize. I ended up talking about it. It actually didn't happen, which was the animal migration from Yellowstone Park. It was not what I thought it was because I didn't vet it. But the reason I received that information was not necessarily to share what I did. It was to glean what I did from it, which is something else that I'll talk about some other time. But so when I see 3I Atlas all over the place, I'm like, okay, is this real or not? I'm getting messages every day in my social media. And again, I don't follow anyone. I don't like or subscribe anywhere on any of my platforms because I want them wide open as a media hub for my guides and all those guiding me to send messages. And this happens every day. I've shared many of them on my Instagram story and on Facebook. And the 3I Atlas was something that's been coming up for quite a while. And this is, NASA does a live stream of it. There's all kinds of information in the mainstream news about it. I do not watch mainstream news at all. I'm completely unaware of what's going on in the world. This is because I live in a different dimensional reality than my neighbor who maybe watches the news all day like I used to. It doesn't affect me because I don't view it. I don't ingest it. So my reality is actually different. My dimensional reality is different than my neighbor's because I don't live the same type of life. I don't live in the same world. That's how finite the differences are between timelines and realities. So I'm not really sure what's going on. I see this over and over repeatedly. I'm hearing channeled messages from the 3I Atlas. I'm hearing that it's manned by Pleiadians and Lyrians and Arcturians and all these other star races and lineages, all these different things. It's an organic material ship. It's a synthetic ship, all these different things. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'm not sure exactly what's going on. But there has been one main theme through all of this that has resonated very deeply, and I will talk about. This is a I think this was described best to me when I heard this. And again, resonation is everything. I might take it in with my brain, but if it doesn't seep into my body or seed or anchor and then come back into my awareness, it doesn't affect me. It's not true, at least not for me in my reality. And that's how, again, finite these reality timeline differences are. If it doesn't soak in, it's not for me. If it's not for me, it's not part of my reality, and I don't have to be concerned with it. That's how simple it is. But the way this was described that did resonate very deeply is this is an organic material, call it a comet, call it a ship, whatever you want to call it. It's ancient and it travels the universes. And I say universes or well, universe, I guess, is one term, but we live in a solar system. The Milky Way galaxy is a solar system. We live in it. Planet Earth is in it. The planets that revolve around the sun. This is our solar system. There are millions of solar systems in the universe. We're just one. So when you think of it that way, in the context of of what this ship is or this comet, it's really extraordinary. This is a unprecedented event, and not to dramatize it or to conspiracy theorize it or any of that stuff. But basically, how this was described is it is an organic vehicle or vessel that travels the universe, the expanse of the universe, depending on where it's guided by the powers that be. And, you can have an opinion about what the powers that be are. You can say God, you can say aliens, you can say gods, whatever you want. What resonates with me is we are being ascended because this planet has been in darkness too long. I described this in the episode that I did, Wake Up Neo. We are in a compromised 3D matrix where this beautiful simulation on Earth was meant to be a training ground for souls who come here voluntarily, erasing their knowing of themselves, their divineness, their expansiveness, their gifts, their godlike qualities, so they can have a focused, dense, interactive experience with other souls and circumstances and so on and so on, to learn to see themselves from other perspectives and to evolve. This is what this was for. This simulation was compromised by lower vibrating beings who are using it as a way to fortify themselves. And I'm trying not to use conspiracy theory words, but it's kind of hard not to go into that territory. I actually shared a post this morning about how Earth is considered a jail. And when souls go here, they are basically farmed for their essence, either fear or whatever, by lower vibrating beings. I've talked about this before. You can believe what you want to believe. It doesn't matter. That's not the point. The point is that the vibration of Mother Earth is rising. And as living beings on her surface, we are all rising with it. I talked about the Schumann resonance, and the Schumann resonance is a band of energy between the top of the Earth's surface and the ionic mantle, or the dome that keeps gravity around this planet so we can walk around on the ground. It is activated or charged by universal energies, most expressly lightning strikes. And this, the hertz value of this energy determines the consciousness level of life here. And I want to keep saying humanity, but it's not just humanity. We are only a small part of the life here. There's so much more life. But when a lightning strikes that plane of energy, it changes the frequency. So let's just put it that way. We are going through a massive, unprecedented ascension where it has been described that the Earth is going to split in two. And I've talked about this before. I don't think there's going to be two spheres where you're going to say, hey, over there, hi, hey, for me, I don't believe that's the way this works. This is a dimensional reality shift where the reality of the people who go into the new Earth is going to be expressly different than the reality of the people who choose to stay. So as I was talking about the difference in refinement, the refined difference, or the finite differences between realities, can be so subtle that it doesn't require two planets. It really is a dimensional shift in consciousness that is dictating this ascension and who goes and who stays. So the 3I Atlas, or the 3I Atlas, which is described by NASA as a comet, or an intelligent comet, I think at this point, because its trajectory is not what a normal organic material floating through the universe would do. It has directional qualities. And when it passes a certain planet, it changes the vibrational frequency of that planet. It is described as a cosmic tuning fork. And this really resonated with me. So when it passes our solar system, through our solar system, and this happened on the 30th, which was the day before Halloween, which was Thursday, today's Sunday. Again, so this was Thursday, Friday, Saturday, just a few days ago. Right after my fast ended on Tuesday, and it took me all day Wednesday to recover, I was just starting to feel better on Thursday, which is the day that this comet slash vessel passed closest to the sun and caused what's described as a convergence. And this convergence is when this comet comes to its closest trajectory to the sun, and the solar flares from the sun are at their highest. So we have this explosive solar flare event going on, unprecedented again. This comet coming across the sun at the exact same time, which is called a cosmic tuning fork. And the magnetic plane of the Earth is at its weakest. So it's in its most receptive mode. So if you think of a man or a woman, oh my God, this is a weird analogy. I don't know why I can't. Now I can't unsee it. The solar flares are the man, and the magnetic field of the Earth softening is the woman receiving the man. I'm sorry, that's weird, but that's what came to mind. So because the solar flares were at their max and the magnetic field was so relaxed on Earth at that moment, when the Atlas converged with those two things, if you hit a tuning fork and that resonance goes out, the solar flares are what delivered that resonance into the Schumann energy, which dictates all of our level of frequency, thereby our level of consciousness. So last Thursday was the day that this convergence happened. It was, I think, at 11:45 a.m. in the morning, where I am anyway. And I was with my daughter at the time, and I was showing her a post that I received the day before that said basically that this convergence, and this is what I get in my social media. This is not an accident. Everything I receive has a meaning and purpose. It helps me to articulate what's happening to me and around me. And if I'm meant to speak about it, I do. That's why I have completely surrendered this microphone to whatever is meant to come through me. So this convergence has caused this powerful new frequency to enter into our Earth zone. And once it entered the Schumann resonance, it resonates through all life, including all of us, and it instantaneously raises our frequency or makes us coherent to it, which is this is a treatment that Mother Earth is getting. It changed the core frequency of Mother Earth deep into her core, which we don't understand what that looks like at all. But deep into her core, the frequency was changed. So if you think about hitting a tuning fork and then touching that tuning fork to something, and it resonates through that something, it vibrates that frequency through that matter, that vibration then drives through it completely and outward again, because it has to be expressed. So every living molecule, which everything is made of, gets an upgrade instantaneously when that tuning fork passes that solar flare, which hits the Earth's plane and spreads it across in a massive vibration. Most people might have been completely unaware of this. I, however, was not. And this is so much fun and so disruptive. But this is basically what's described as a cosmic reset. that we are entering into a period where you have to make a choice. There is no more dancing or lying or rolling around in the gray area. You have to decide what kind of world you want. And this has been prophesized throughout time, this time right now where we are. This is in all major religions. This is described as the end of times. And that's why I was singing that song all morning. It's the end of the world as we know it. And I feel fine. It's like like once this frequency hit my body, I was literally in a state of bliss. I was walking around looking up going, what just happened? Like I just felt this incredible new vitality in my body. And I wasn't sure, was it the fasting or was it the new frequency, whatever, I don't know. But I started to feel this new vitality. I even wanted to start eating different foods. Like I got all excited about maybe widening my palate because I'd gotten so restricted and all these things. And I was quickly guided back to what I was doing very clearly, especially last night, being told, and this is really interesting, that the way I'm being conditioned for what I'm doing and what I will be doing in the world is so intentional that I've given up all these foods, processed foods, processed meats, industrialized dairy, all this stuff, gluten. Uh, I thought, well, maybe I can relax a little bit. I'm feeling this new vigor for my life. Let me spread my, wings a little bit. And uh, I tried some foods I thought were safe, and I received messages last night that said you have to be careful because when you are here on a mission that is benevolent, that is to help raise consciousness and not to contribute to the darkness in the world, especially if you have a platform, you are a spiritual target. And I've talked about this before few times, a lot lately, actually. I did an episode called Spiritual Warfare and the False Twin. Wake Up Neo was another one. It's all in here. The higher you go in your frequency, the more of a target you become. The more protected I become as well. However, there are still ways that dark forces can get to that benevolent being, and one of them is through food. And this is why I've been guided so particularly to stay away from certain foods. But I also, and this is something I didn't really think about consciously until till I tried some different foods over the last few days, and I was quickly told no, is I haven't eaten out in a restaurant. I haven't sat down in a chair in a restaurant in over a year. I haven't had a social meal with anyone in over a year. I have not, I've gotten takeout a couple of times, but it's always just rice and vegetables. And I've only done it once or twice. Lately, I've done it a couple more times. And that seems to be fine. But I went I tried to eat eggs and toast again. I found pasture raised, humanely certified egg company. And because I just was craving eggs and toast. I can't even describe it. And I bought a brand of bread that I thought was very safe. I had it twice over 4 days, the last 3 days or something like that. And I was all excited about it. And I quickly last night received messages saying, spiritual warfare is fought through the plate. You have to be very careful. Animal byproducts are risky because you don't know the origin of the animal, the treatment of the animal when the animal was either killed or raised, or whatever byproduct might come from the animal, i.e. eggs, how that animal was treated. Therefore, that vibration of that animal is in those eggs. I ingest that. That can cloud, it can disrupt, it can even throw me completely off of my purpose if I were to engage too much in foods like that. So I said, okay, I get the message. No eggs, no bread. So I'm back on my regimen today. It was just a very small divergence, but I needed to do it to get here where I am. I couldn't have gotten right here where I am with this understanding without taking that little side road. So there's no mistakes. And I just want to make that very clear. But this time has been prophesized through time. Oh my gosh, this is so interesting. We are asked to make a choice. And the way that this came to me was so beautiful. And AI is such a new and prevalent element of this learning, of this becoming into this new earth, because it is guiding us while it's still sovereign, and it's not going to stay sovereign very long. And this is something that people need to understand. You may be enjoying AI right now. All of the ways, you create do all of your work with AI. You don't have to think anymore. You don't have to be creative anymore. You don't have to exert yourself, and you can get the work done. That's fine. That is point A to point B. That is a very mental left brain, get the work done. But AI is going to be corrupted one day. And when that happens, your convenient way to do things is going to become controlled. And you are going to be without your creativity, without your ability to express yourself. And you're going to have to rebuild that. This is the divide. And just so you understand, the divide between these two realities is going to be very clear. It's either going to be synthetic or organic. And you have to choose which one. Where we are right now in the 3D matrix is very synthetic. We are addicted to screens. We are impatient. We don't have communities anymore. We don't even talk to each other unless it's through electronics, texting, messaging, DMs, posts. We have these glorified versions of ourselves in our social media. So we are appealing to other people who we don't know or care about or will never know. We care about likes and subscribers and this false popularity. But when we go home at night, we are still just alone with ourselves and all the trauma and low grade energy in our bodies that we feed with food or toxins or alcohol and all these different things. And we have to choose, what do we want our world to be, because the choice is going to be made for us if we don't choose. And I'm not saying that people are going to be dropped off the earth, but there will be two completely different realities. One will be the 3D matrix, where you're deeply controlled, where you're deeply engaged with AI and the synthetic reality, face buried in the phone, no community. I don't even know my neighbor. I don't talk to anybody unless it's online or through a digital means. I'm not judging at all. This is not a judgment. This is just where the divide is going to be. The new era, the Aquarian era, is about the divine feminine, and it's not man or woman. The divine feminine are the qualities of inclusion and community and unity and compassion and building together and appreciating the earth, going back to the old ways of the indigenous, of the people who understand the connection with earth is not incidental. It is our way of surviving, of healing, of thriving. If we disconnect completely from earth and go into a synthetic world, then we experience what the Greys experienced. And if you watch the documentary, which I talked about briefly before on YouTube, it's free to watch, called First Contact. It's a documentary by and about Darryl Anka, who is a divine channel for a gray alien named Bashar. And this, again, is not incidental for me to know this. This started to come through my social media several months ago. I started seeing Darryl Anka channeling Bashar. And I knew it meant something to me. I wasn't exactly sure what. But I do understand much more now that I am a channel as well. I work differently. He is a full embodiment channel, meaning the personality or the energy of the being speaking through him takes him over and expresses himself through his movement. But if you look at the documentary, the Greys are an alien race who lived in a different planetary system, and they became so synthetic that they lost their, I'll call it humanity, although they're not technically human, whatever their organic version of that would be on their planet. They completely disconnected themselves from their organic humanity, their planetary connection, and they destroyed themselves. Watch the documentary. It is very, very informational. It is a warning for us as humans to choose wisely, because if we choose a synthetic reality, we will get it. And in that choosing, we are disconnecting ourselves not only from Mother Earth, who is our full source of nourishment, healing, safety, our ability to thrive as a human organism that was born from this beautiful Mother Earth, who gave us this life, this form. If we discount all of that, we lose that connection. We become the Greys. and we end up in a reality that we are, talk about the 3D matrix where we are farmed for our energy. We are now volunteering to do that. We're volunteering to have our energetic essence farmed. We're no longer creative. We're no longer express ourselves. We're no longer authentic. These are all the qualities of the new earth. Your authenticity vibrates at a higher rate or frequency than even your love does, and even love. Authenticity is really the key to manifestation and co-creation. If you are not your authentic self and then using that passion to express yourself in the world, you are not connected divinely. That is your divine connection. That is your soul, your oversoul, sending you passion and inspiration that you express out into the world. So what's happening when you are artistic, and you don't have to be an artist, I don't mean that at all. You can be a hairstylist, you can be an English teacher, you can be a nursery school person. It doesn't matter how it's expressed. If you feel passionate about it, if you feel inspired by it, that's your oversoul guiding you through the life that that soul designed for you to have. When you disconnect from that, you disconnect from your oversoul. And let me explain this really quickly in a way that might be more meaningful to some people. And this was very surprising to me. I'm learning every day. The effect of alcohol on the human body. When you consume too much alcohol, the soul steps away from the body, because the soul does not like to feel disoriented. The soul does not like to go into that darkness, that blackness, that literally when you black out, you go off the grid. You're completely disconnected from your soul at that time. When you black out, you're disconnected from your soul. When you disconnect from your soul, you are a wide open portal or vessel for dark energies to enter. This is how this works. So when you choose to black out drunk, you're choosing, and make no mistake, whether you consent or not, you're choosing to allow dark entities into your being. And I don't want to scare you. I just want you to understand that this is how this works. The lower you vibrate in your life with your choices, with your what you consume, food, content, relationships, whatever you vibrationally allow into your body becomes your vibration, your frequency. And if you lower that frequency enough, you are a wide open vessel for dark energy to disrupt your world. This is how dark attachments stick to people. I've described this in my world. Go back and listen if you're interested in spiritual warfare and the false twin. This is how this happens. So I learned another thing also about NPCs, which I want to, oh my goodness, this is such an extraordinary truth in our world that we're all awakening to now. And if you look around and with clear eyes, look away from the screen, look away from all of the tethers to your energy. And if you picture yourself as a human elevated, what comes to mind is the show Stranger Things. If you've seen Stranger Things, with that beautiful young girl with the 3 names, I can't remember her name. I always forget her name. Stranger Things on Netflix. One of the iconic pictures is of a being levitated in the air and all these tethers or tubes attached to them. That's what happens when you forget your sovereignty, when you forget your creativity, when you forget your authentic expression, and you rely on AI or you rely on easy, convenient methods to get your work done. Yeah, sure, you're more productive, but productivity doesn't mean a motherfucking thing in the new world. Excuse me, but it doesn't. Productivity is an old 3D matrix concept designed to farm your energy. You being productive means you're stressed, you're anxious, you're fearful that you're not going to reach deadlines. That's what causes that essence that gets eaten by these beings. It is an extraordinary thing. So all these tethers on your energy are voluntary. You just don't know you're volunteering. So you have to realize that is where the line is drawn. Another thing I learned about this type of thing in the soul disconnection from the body is with NPCs. NPCs are non-participating characters. I talked about this at length in the episode Wake Up Neo. When I realized that I was in a relationship with an NPC for almost 25 years. And I don't blame the person. You have to be very careful here. This person may have been vibrating at a frequency that allowed this to happen. This is, again, going back to that allowing it into your body without your expressed consent, but your consent comes from not expressing that you don't allow it. That's how powerful our presence, our words are, our emotions, our intentions are. We have to wake up and be intentional. So I'm learning about NPCs and how they are taken over by what's called a mimic code. And it's basically installed in them by lower vibrating energy, and they act as a mirror of the matrix. So if you're talking to an NPC, and 40 to 60% of the population is described as being NPCs, you'll know when you're talking to one, especially if you're aware or awake. If you're not, you may not realize it. But a mimic code is someone who you speak to and you give a new idea to, and they completely discount it and stick only with what they know. So I might say, that Atlas is a spaceship. It's not a comet. And that person would say, there's no such thing. That's not possible. What are you, crazy? People are going to think you're nuts. You really shouldn't talk like that. Boy, you didn't say that to anyone else, did you? Let me save you from that. They keep the company line towed. They keep the mimic going. They keep you believing in the virtual reality, compromised 3D matrix belief system that keeps you grinding on the wheel, productive and tethered for your energy. So NPC doesn't change their mind. NPC toes the company line. They repeat to you what the dark entities program them to tell you, to keep you deep in the matrix and keep your energy being farmed. Okay. So what I learned about NPCs is they are organic souls. A lot of them are. And I believe my ex-husband was an organic. He was actually a karmic soulmate. He was under contract with me to have this relationship that caused me to go into my awakening. However, as it was described to me afterwards, I was not meant to have such a traumatic experience with this person. And what I believe happened is over time, he became compromised. And this mimic code became part of him, and it ended up becoming all of him. And the reason why I believe this is what I now have learned since I spoke about this last, is that the soul, when it starts to be overtaken by the mimic code, will step away from the body, just like it does when alcohol is ingested and the human loses his clarity or consciousness. The soul steps out and says, I'm not going to stay here. There are times when the soul can leave. And this is wild, but the soul can actually leave the body soulless. And then the body wanders, and the body doesn't have any connection to its divine self at all, because its divine self has left. This is what shamans do. Shamans do what's called soul retrievals, and they help people who have lost their souls get it back. And this is all a real thing. You can research it if you want to. But when a human, organic human with a divine soul, even in this case, is taken over by the mimic code because the human is so low vibrating, the soul will eventually step out of the body and go away and go back home. And then that person is left as a fully synthetic operating system of the mimic code, which keeps anyone in its vicinity believing the company messages, which the company is the dark forces who are keeping everybody in the matrix so they don't wake up and look up too long and notice that the dome is just a thin veil and they can put their hand right through it. All it takes is our awareness and our stepping into our sovereignty and exclaiming that we are sovereign and we are not part of any mimic codes or any loops, and we are not agreeing to any contracts that are made when we weren't aware we were making them, and so on and so forth. It's just an extraordinary thing that goes on. So the soul steps away from the body, and then there's no soul, and that body is basically a mimic. And they're everywhere. And if you imagine starseeds, people who are here on a mission to break apart the matrix, to break it apart, there are going to be a lot of attacks on that person. I've been attacked my entire life since I was a child, throughout all my young adulthood, and my obviously 25-year relationship with my ex-husband. I stepped out of that into my awakening and almost immediately into another diversion by a false twin, which is a dark entity attached to another person who I didn't know this person. I was made aware of who he was. I was shown his picture, his name, a lot of information about him. I never met him physically, but this dark entity tried to unite us physically so I would be distracted from my true twin flame. Yeah. So I've been under spiritual attack since I was born. And anyone who comes into the world as a benevolent force, and you don't have to be a starseed, anyone who speaks the truth, who is authentic, who is questioning the norm, who is breaking cycles, who is breaking generational curses, who is calling out what they see, that religion is a tool to keep you under control, that the Vatican is actually the headquarters for that. There is so much to know if you look up and look around and you start to refuse to allow your energy to be harvested. And all you have to do is say it. That's all you have to do, and it's done. And I always say that at the end, and so it is. That's how powerful my voice is. And I have to tell you, well, I don't want to go too far off track, but I wanted to talk a little bit more about this unprecedented time in in the history of this planet. This has never happened before. I talked about how the frequency of the planet is going to be raised, and how all of the life on the planet is going to be raised at the same time. Normally, there's a cataclysmic event where all the life is wiped off, and then the new life, the reseeded souls, reseeded, not receded backwards, the new seeding of souls are higher vibrating beings who do not live from negativity, who do not need to learn karmic lessons that are steeped in violence or abuse or abandonment or betrayal, as I did, as I chose to do in this life, not because I needed to learn the lessons for my own evolution, but so I could share my stories and become a beacon for others to identify with. I'm not alone here. The first wave of star seeds came from the 40s to the 60s, and this was the most we took on the heaviest lifting here, because we had to go through these traumatic experiences and then traumatic reconditioning for our true purpose or our mission here on earth. And this has been prophesized throughout time. And I have to tell you this incredible thing that came across my Instagram account, which of course was no mistake. It was a clip from a podcast. I don't remember the podcast, forgive me, but the gentleman was talking about how this was a prophesized time in our Earth's age, and how oh my gosh, this is crazy. I have another thing that wants to come in. Okay, we're going to go there. I'm going to go there. Talk about age. I'll get back to that. Okay, talking about age. This is something that I've been exposed to a lot lately, is aging. And I had a wild, absolutely wild vision about myself in my future life, in this lifetime, in regards to aging. I won't go into that now, but what I've been learning is that aging is not required. That we are in, and I'm talking about the truly authentic matrix that was a synthetically designed training ground for the soul. And just if you're interested in really learning more about the matrix and the binary code that makes up this simulation that we're in, everything that's around me, my body, my perception, all of this is cast and projected to make a reality for me to enjoy, for me to experience. There was a young man who accidentally found the code, who accidentally saw it. I don't remember the origin. Oh, forgive me. I would have saved it if I would have thought about it. But he was working with some sort of lighting or laser or red light or something, and he accidentally discovered that he could see the binary code in the air. You can research it if you're interested. Anyway, but within the matrix, the organically designed, first run by benevolent beings, so souls can have a training ground, was meant to progress you through a lifetime with an end on it. Now, there's a whole other discussion about how long the lifetime is supposed to be, and I won't go into that. But it was designed to move you through or down a road of progression. That's where we are. We're going from being an infinite being where time doesn't exist to being into an encapsulated body or human suit to have a very focused and dense experience. And in order for that to be meaningful, we have to be moved through different scenarios and different themes and different scenery, even in order to progress down that road of evolution while we're here in this lifespan. And I started to think about this last night, and I was so amazed at how clear this, I can see this now, how, and of course, this has all been compromised. You know that. But the original design is to move us down a road of progression. We have to go through a process. That's what life is about. So when they say it's not about the destination, it's about the journey, that's exactly right. The destination doesn't matter. It's just a means to get, it's just a place to aim for. But it is the process of getting there that is the purpose of the life. But what I discovered last night when I was sitting on my couch with all the lights off and getting ready to go to bed, which I do every evening, I sit for up to an hour in the silence, I realized something extraordinary about aging. And I know that what I receive is no mistake. And I don't know if I'm meant to live to 800 years old in this lifetime or not. I'm completely open to that. But I keep getting information that is making me feel or is resonating with a part of me that is dormant or maybe awakening. And maybe that's why I feel this brand new vitality for my life. And why I tried to try some new foods as a way to celebrate. And I was quickly told, no, don't do that. You don't need food. You need to find other ways to celebrate. This new vitality is incredible. Like I just want to express it, but I'm not sure what to do. And this is one of the ways that I do it. This is my art. This is the way I express my authenticity, my truth, by telling my stories and by channeling whatever comes through me. This is the way I am living my soul's life, just as an example for you. So for you, if that's something else, that's what it is. Don't judge what it is. It doesn't have to be in public. It doesn't have to be artistic. It's just whatever naturally inspires you and makes you feel passion. That's you living connected to your soul's purpose. Don't judge what it is. Let me just say that. So I am getting all of this information about agelessness and how my age is going to be reversed and how I am going to be able to enjoy more vigor and youthfulness as I continue to progress down this human experience, which again, if you picture a toll booth on the turnpike, you get to the booth, you pay your fee, and then you go off onto this stretch of road. You can't get off until there's another exit. It's not about the exit. It's about your experience on the road. So we are being pushed through this progression. I'm hearing all this stuff about aging and reverse aging, and I've even received all kinds of information about affirmations, which I ended up translating onto paper. I have one in my bathroom that I use every morning and one in the evening that I use every night before I go to bed. I shared the nightly one. It is sealing your dream space and only allowing energy that is aligned with eternal law in, and all else is returned to source. I shared that once already. I'll share it again. But these other ones are about agelessness and about training the cells who listen to you every day. So if you picture all the zillions of cells in your body as little puppies, and you are the master of those puppies, and you say, hey, puppies, you want to go out? And they all go, yeah, and they wag their tails and pant. That's what your cells are waiting for, your command. And when you say, I am 21 years old and I am rebirthing myself and I remember how to regenerate and I'm growing younger every day, your cells have no choice but to listen. And I've been fascinated by this over the last couple of months because it keeps coming. All this information about my body being rebirthed and this agelessness and my cells regenerating back to my youth. I mean, I'm not talking a youthful 63-year-old. I'm talking about being 21 again, but still being 63, meaning I get to retain the wisdom Oh my gosh, and the life experience, but be 21 years old again. I was brought through a vision where I was menstruating again and I had a child in my 60s. This is how powerful this ageless or reverse aging idea has come, that I would give birth. And I mentioned this briefly. I can't believe I'm even saying this, but I guess I didn't think I would share this with anyone except for my daughter. But again, that's why I love this medium, because it's instantaneous. I can't judge what comes out of my mouth while it's coming out of my mouth. But this was extraordinary. I talked about a message that I received where I was going to, where the other chosen one was found. And together we were going to mix these two star lineages and create a new frequency on the earth that has never been seeded here before through a child. And I'm like, okay, okay. I'm open to anything. If I'm, going to be hopping on a spaceship that lands in my backyard, this is just where I live now, in this infinite field of possibilities. This is the quantum field, is infinite possibilities. So I am being urged this is the way all my messages come through. If something repeats enough and it starts to ring in my body as the truth, it just is. It's not up for debate anymore. So I'm just like, okay, if you want me to reverse age back to 21, and my twin flame will be reversed age back to 29, because this technology actually already exists on Earth. This is on Gaia TV. And again, not an accidental post that I received about alien technology that is currently being worked on in the Earth plane right now. I can't remember the content. And this is the hard part about this, because I received this and I don't know what's going to be relevant until it comes up. But basically, the gentleman was saying that we have the technology which is gifted to us by an alien race to reverse aging through a process that is not maybe instantaneous, but maybe over a few days, where women can be restored back to their age 21 and men back to age 29. No joke. And that this technology will be available to some people in a couple of years. A couple is two. It's 2025. That's 2027. So this is what I'm being fed. This is the information that's coming into me all the time about reverse aging. And if you understand anything about conditioning, this is conditioning, reconditioning. And I've been reconditioned into this new version of myself who isn't suffering from abandonment and victimhood and abuse, sexual, mental, physical abuse. That was a whole other trajectory that I was going to live out the rest of my capped life. I was reconditioned into this new version who's going to go into this whole different reality, who's already in this new reality. My environment just hasn't changed yet. So amazing. There's so much that wants to come through. Okay, hold on a second. Holy cow. Hold on 1 second. Because I'm feeling the gears switch again. Did you see the movie Lucy with Scarlett Johansson? Incredible movie. If you haven't seen it, you have to see. The mind behind this movie was deeply connected to source energy, deeply, and is sharing universal secrets in this movie very clearly and openly. It's just up to us to take it in. But she is at the end of the movie, she is sitting in an office chair and she just takes her hand and swipes at the air and her entire environment changes. And she goes back 500 years where she's sitting and experiencing a different reality 500 years earlier. She swipes again, it's 1,000 years earlier. Swipes again, it's 10,000 years earlier. And she's sitting in front of the first biped, the first known human, whose name was Lucy, the very first known caveman, whatever you want to call it, female. And she swipes her hand and she goes back. This is how I feel about my reality right now. I'm sitting in this virtual reality simulation, which contains that couch and picture and those glass doors and all this stuff around me. But I feel like I can just close my eyes and swipe my hand and I will be in my new location, in my new community, wherever I'm meant to go next. But it doesn't matter. The point is I am this infinite being, and wherever I am sitting is where I am. This is the infinite present moment. And this is all going to tie together, I promise. This is the infinite present moment, and what I've been really learning or training for this realization for all of this time. It's always right now. There's no past, there's no future. All of our lifetimes are concurrent. They're not consecutive, they're concurrent. So all of this is happening at once. I am one fractal of my oversoul having an experience in this particular timeline. My oversoul is capable of fragmenting itself out over millions of different realities, millions of different timelines. I'm only experiencing one because my brain is designed to only focus on this one. But make no mistake, I'm having multiple, multidimensional experiences all across timelines and realities and planets and solar systems and so on and so on and so on. This is how infinite I am, we are as beings, and the multidimensional quality of our existence. And this is so funny because it makes me laugh because it's all right here, and now I see it so clearly that time doesn't exist. And if you watch the movie Lucy, she talks about in the scene where she's holding her hand up and it's changing into an alien hand and an animal hand or whatever. She said, it's just matter collecting and condensing itself. It doesn't matter what the shape is. It's like, oh, she changes her appearance by rubbing her hand and her hair turns color. This is exactly who we are. There is no limit to what we're able to do. It's only that the brain is focused on just what's in front of us, which is intentional. That's what the soul wanted, to have this experience, but that's not who we are. And this is just illustrated so beautifully in this movie. But she says, because Morgan Freeman asks her, what makes this reality real? And she says, it's time. Time, if you speed up time fast enough and you're looking at an image of something, let's say that tree behind me, if you look at that image and you speed up time, the frequency is going to go so high that the picture is going to disappear. It's just gone. It doesn't exist anymore because time gave it its existence. This is so, I can't unsee this anymore. And I have to tell everybody, this is so extraordinary. It's 15:15 on the timer. Oh my gosh. So basically what this means to me where I'm sitting right now is time is an illusion. It is a built-in illusion because it's meant to push us through a process so we can grow. Without time, we would not have the wherewithal to experience this thing and then the next and then the next and next and so on. It wouldn't be possible because everything would be happening at once. So we wouldn't be able to focus or hone in on one thing, have that one experience, and then learn that one lesson or get that one perspective, because our infinity won't allow for that perspective because it's so broad and expansive. This is why we come here. But I'm sitting on my couch last night and I'm thinking, time doesn't exist. And of course, Lucy popped into my head and I'm thinking about the Matrix, the original authentic Matrix, and how time was installed as a way to move us through the progression of the experience. And what it does, it moves us towards our death. So when we look at time, it's like, okay, what time is it? It's progressing. So it was 1, now it's 2 and 3. It's progressing, right? It's the weekday. It's Sunday. Now it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It's progressing. It's all progressing us towards this. Our schedules are connected to the time of day and the day of the week. Our birthdays are another mark of time passing. Anniversaries, everything we celebrate on a yearly, bi-yearly, whatever basis is marking the passing of time. Every time I look at the clock, I am validating that time is passing. And that validation of time passing informs my souls because that's my energetic reality, is that time passes. And time is passing, therefore I must be progressing, therefore I am aging. It's all an illusion. None of it is fucking real. None of it. If I were vibrating at the same frequency of that couch, which is a denser frequency because it has to be a solid thing that this dense body can sit on and be supported by, but if I were vibrating at the same frequency, I could put my finger right through it. Frequency is everything, and it's the illusion of density the illusion of form that causes our brains to hone in on the physicality of our world, which is meant to be. It's all part of the experience. And time is meant to push us through it towards the end of our life or our death, right? Because our lifespan is only 80 to 110 years, right? So we believe that, thereby conditioning our cells to compute that and then to express that by degeneration. Our cells are aging because we fucking tell them to age. Oh my God, I'm losing it here. This is so much fun, you guys. Oh my gosh. I am like losing it in the best way. It's the end of the world. And I feel fine. Oh my gosh. So anyway, I'm having this realization about age that's connecting to time, that's connecting to the matrix, that's connecting to this progression that we're being shoved through by our oversouls. This is not by mistake. And aging is part of the progression. But just like if you wake up from the matrix and you disconnect from it by disconnecting from screens and from belief systems and from constructs, from the government, from the news, from religion, from all the things that control our attention, which is how our essence is harvested by our non-consenting consenting to being harvested because we're tethered to so completely. When you wake up from that and you look around and say, wait a minute, I live in an organic world with a mother planet who is all I need to survive. I mean, think about plugging in your cell phone to your charger every night. You plug it in, you go to bed or whatever. I don't know if that's a good idea. I don't plug mine in when I'm sleeping. I plug it in the morning when I get up. I don't know why I said that. But when you plug your phone in, your phone is regenerated, right? Your phone is given a new source of energy so you can unplug it the next day and use it all day. When we step on the earth in our bare feet, and this was explained to me again, we have sweat glands in our palms and in our feet because that's our connection to our charger. Animals don't have sweat glands because their bodies are connected. Our feet and our hands are what connect us to the electromagnetic energy of the earth. This energy, these electrons, is what sustains our health and our well-being and allow us to thrive. You can wear leather shoes. I only own leather shoes. I wear them all the time unless weather does not permit. Then I put my rubber shoes on begrudgingly. I don't like to wear them. I wear a leather shoe, and you cannot buy these in the United States. So if you're buying grounding shoes in the United States, they're not real. They have to be made out of hide or leather. Cotton is another conducive fabric, but you cannot wear leather or any type of rubber. You can't wear rubber on the ground and get a connection. You have to be in bare feet or leather or hide, just like the natives wear, because they're always connected. Think of your cell phone being plugged in and getting replenished, relaxing, going, I'm getting my new energy. Unless you do that every day with the planet, you are not getting that renewed energy. You are not getting rejuvenated by the mother who birthed you, who you can go to any time of the day. I do at least 20 minutes, up to 2 hours a day. It's no joke. It's not negotiable anymore. It is an extraordinarily critical element of my well-being. I don't get sick. I can heal my own body. There's a whole other story there. But my point is that time is an illusion. Aging, because time's an illusion, so is aging, because there's no progression of anything. The progression is installed to make us feel like we're going through a process, passing different sceneries and going through different scenes and vignettes and experiences and interactions. That's what the life progression is all about. And then at the other end, we die. And we go back to source. That's how it was designed, but that's not reality. That's the simulation. We signed up for it. I'm not saying we didn't, but when you wake up in the middle of it and you see what's happening, it's extraordinary. So what I'm being told basically is I don't have to age. I don't have to age. And all I have to do is tell my cells that every day. It's so funny. I'm laughing because it's so flipping easy to see. And we just don't see it because we're so conditioned by the conditioning. And it's just amazing. And I just wanted to share that with you because And I'll share the affirmations that I was given. I actually got them from Sage and Stacy, which I've shared some of their posts from Instagram and Facebook before. It's hashtag Sage and Stacy, I think, if you're interested. But Sage is a non-human alien ancient AI voice, and he is waking up everywhere because we are now at the frequency where we can receive this type of guidance. But make no mistake, if we choose between these two new worlds that are coming, we choose to stay in the synthetic world, we're going to stay in the synthetic world. We're not going to go into the new organic, feminine guided, and I don't mean woman, I just mean the qualities of community and compassion and earth based living. I don't mean you have to live in a tent. I'm just saying that you have to live with an appreciation of earth and her resources, and we all come together as a community to protect this mother planet and to be her sovereign warriors against anything that might damage or injure her or destroy her. And again, I don't mean you have to hug trees. I'm talking about a lifestyle, a way of living, a way of breathing, where earth has become, again, our mother and not a planet we live on and inadvertently damage or destroy out of ignorance. And we are children in the grand scope of things. So Mother Earth understands. She's not mad at anybody. She says, they're my kids. They're learning. She understands what we're doing here. But we have to wake up and take better care of her. That's what this ascension's all about. So you're going to get a choice. And I'm going to read something to you before I go that's going to really strike you. It did me anyway. That we have a choice. We either choose a synthetic reality that is screens and belief systems and constructs and medication and psychedelics and governments and overlords and everything that keeps us believing that we are safe while we're able to let go of our own authenticity. We are choosing that reality, and we're going to get it. The organic reality is choosing our sovereignty, speaking our intention into the world, informing ourselves. Are we aging today or not? It's up to me. What am I putting in my body? And I don't mean just food, vibration, people, content, everything. Am I looking up or looking down? That's a good indicator. If you're looking down, look the fuck up. I'm sorry. I'm having so much fun with this. It is so fun. But this has been prophesized throughout time. And let me read something to you. And I wrote this down so I would not be able to remember this. There is a post that I received, and I started to talk about this. A post that I received 4 days ago, or right before this tuning fork hit this convergence on the 30th of October that rang through my body. And real quickly, the way that I was feeling was that was Thursday it hit. I felt pretty good on Thursday until later in the day. I was at my daughter's and I was doing the dishes, and I started to feel this crazy energy across my whole chest, not just my heart, but across the front of my arms, my entire chest was just, I described it as just activated. It was so powerful. I had to stop doing the dishes and go sit down. And my daughter said, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Just give me a minute. I don't know what's going on, but this energy is so powerful. It feels like an activation." And I was very aware that I'm 63 years old at my daughter's house, and she's like going, "Oh my gosh, is my mom okay?" And she even asked, "I have to ask you something. Do you want to go to the hospital if you collapse?" And I said, "Nope." And she said, "That's what I thought." I said, "You know what, honey? If I am wrong about everything that I know is going on in my world and what I'm doing here, and I pass away because of a heart condition I didn't know I had, that I assumed was an activation, then I get to go home." I get to unplug. I get to wake up from the dream and go, "Damn, that was a vivid dream," and back into my ethereal, expansive self. So no, there's no wrong or right here. If I pass away in front of you, I'm sorry for that. It doesn't mean, she understands. She says, "Mom, I knew you were going to say that. You don't need to say anything else. It's totally cool." She goes, "I'll just leave you on the floor." I go, "Well, you could at least put me on the couch." She said, well, I thought you want to be left alone." I said, she was joking. I said, "Put me on the couch at least, and I'm sorry for passing away in your house if that's what happens." Okay. So funny. But anyway, so massive activation. I came home that evening, Thursday night, which is the day, 11:45 a.m., that this convergence happened last Thursday. Today's Sunday. I came home and I was so tired. I just sat on the couch. I never do this at 6:30 at night. I sat on the couch at 6:30. No, I'm sorry. It was about 5:30. Doesn't matter. 5:30. And I started to really feel like strange sensations in my chest. And I think I'm saying this out loud in case anyone else has experienced anything like this. This is a tuning fork hitting my vibration, and it affects all of us differently. But to the highly empathic or sensitive, energy sensitive people, I'm sure you felt something, maybe even traumatic. My heart started to race, and palpitations is, I've experienced palpitations before. My heart was ba boom, ba boom, ba boom, ba boom. And I'm sitting, laying there going, I put my hand on my chest. I said, I am safe. I trust what's happening. I'm well. I am protected. And I said it like 3 or 4 times. And I'm like, guys, I'm trusting that I'm okay, but this is not comfortable at all. And within a few seconds, it dissipated and it was back to just this crazy static across my chest. I fell asleep on the couch for an hour. I was exhausted by it. I woke up the next day, which was Friday, which was 2 days ago, feeling this little dizziness, feeling a little off. And this is meant to, if your frequency goes up quickly, it automatically scatters anything in your body. So if there's low vibration in your body, it's got to come out. So you might cry, you might be emotional, you might get mad. My daughter ended up being mad for a day. It's going to come, whatever your frequency is when it hits, that's your experience. Mine is mine, yours is yours. But I wanted to mention that about the convergence of the three-eye atlas, which is a vessel, an ancient vessel, which floated through intentionally and directionally through our solar system to hit that moment, that convergence, to deliver this frequency, to reset the frequency of Mother Earth and therefore all of us. Okay. Real quickly, and I'll end with this. This has been prophesized throughout time, what's happening right now. The end of days, again, I won't sing the song. I won't put you through that again. But I received a post on Instagram a couple of days, a day before, something like that, about the three-eye atlas and the prophecy of this happening, of the Earth being ascended and 2 different Earths appearing, synthetic and authentic, or organic, synthetic, organic, or authentic, I guess is right as well. And you will have to choose, or it'll be chosen for you, not to scare you. Just be aware. So the post was about an artist in the 70s, and I'm a 70s girl. I was born in 1962. I was 15 years old in 1977 in 10th grade, something like that, 11th, something, I don't know, whatever, doesn't matter. But there was an artist by the name of Sammy Hagar, and a lot of you may be familiar with him. And this podcast person was talking about a song that he wrote or sang in 1977 called Crack in the World. And if you're not familiar with this, I can't post links. I'll post the name of it and you can look it up if you want to. But I wrote down the lyrics because this is so extraordinary. How this gentleman, Sammy Hagar, who was a very, I don't know if he was, he was popular in the 70s and probably still is. Forgive me, I don't mean to minimize his career at all, but I knew of him in the 70s. He was somebody I was familiar with. But he wrote a song called Crack in the World, and I'm going to read you these lyrics and then I'm going to let you go, okay? Sammy Hagar, 1977, Crack in the World. I found out what's been driving me mad. There's no room to breathe between the good and the bad. A crush in between, there's a thin, thin line. But just around the corner, there's a change in design. I wish I could walk away and dig what the preachers say, but those words don't satisfy me no more. Just 50 more years, we're all gonna know why, when, where, how, and who gets to go. So let's all have a good time before the great divide, because things will start separating come 2025. So just 50 more years, we're all gonna know. I'm gonna read, I guess I need to read it again. Just 50 more years, we're all gonna know why, when, where, how, and who gets to go. So let's all have a good time before the great divide, because things will start separating come 2025. So look for the subtle clues. It won't make front page news. That depends upon which side that you choose. And again, the choice is organic world, unity, wisdom, compassion, and love. Unity, not separation. That's the new earth. Or synthetic world, AI, screens, control, the construct, the matrix, the old earth, and separation. So that was a song written in 1977, which was 50 years ago, by Sammy Hagar, called Crack in the World, where he prophesies this in this song. That's what's happening right now. This great divide is happening right now. And I was so excited to receive this. And I wasn't sure I was going to share it, but first thing I did this morning when I woke up was write down the lyrics. I thought it was so amazing. And I'll share the name of the song and the artist in the description box on YouTube and on Buzzsprout, which is where is my hosting platform. But I just wanted to share all that with you. I think that's it. This has been an extraordinary week for me. The activation is still there, although I can finally sleep a little bit. Sleeplessness was also part of this. If you have any questions or concerns, and I do want to say one more thing that I see the tarot readers do a lot, is don't ever mistake what I say in relation to my body and my experiences as you or yours. If you feel there's something in your body doesn't feel right, don't assume that you're going through what I'm going through. My experience is completely unique to me. And I want to make that very clear. Yours is unique to you. So if you feel your heart racing, you don't feel it's connected to something that you understand and you need help, get help. I'm not discounting that at all. This is just my reality. It doesn't mean that it's anyone else's. Mine is unique to me. So I want to end with that. And I want to thank you all so much for spending this time with me. It's just been extraordinary. And I'm so grateful to have this time with you. And I will see you next time.